So I just got fired from my job for my social media, and this is where I worked. And like, I'm not crying or upset or mad. I'm just like this is wild.
This man literally just got fired because he loves Jesus and he is sharing his faith, his walk, and his transformative journey from a homosexual lifestyle to a lifestyle that pleases God.
Like, I'm not crying or upset or mad. I'm just like this is wild, and this is expected. And there's nothing that I talk about on my social media except for Jesus. And so obviously that has to be the only reason. Now, they talked about me recording some things in conference rooms, and my mindset was, this is a big place. It's not that serious. I'm going to really try to not have the logo be in anything. They said the logo was in one of my videos. I don't recall. But they said in general, overall, it's against their social media policy, which is very interesting. I know places and occupations and jobs, they have people, take videos, like if there's like educational purposes, but obviously don't have kids there or whatever. This only happens when you stand in truth. And here's what I'm gonna do. I know the Lord is gonna provide for me, but I just wanted to let y'all know, this is what happens when you love Jesus. And I'm not gonna stop loving Jesus. And I'm gonna bless them. And I hope they do well. But this means that my time here is up, and there's something else that the Lord needs me to do.
So, if you've not been watching Richard's story or if you're hearing about it for the first time, this dude is somebody who has been going sort of viral. I first learned about his video, I think maybe a month or two ago, where Nick Jones had covered this on his channel. So I had to go and check out Richard for myself on TikTok. And in his video, he was talking about how heavily addicted he was to pornography. And he was also living a homosexual lifestyle. So he says that he didn't necessarily follow or seek out Jesus because he was, he wanted to transition from being gay. He said that he was so caught up in the pornographic addiction that he couldn't handle it anymore.
I didn't come to Jesus and give my life to Christ to be straight, to turn from gay to straight. I gave my life to Christ because I was addicted to porn, and I really needed help, and I really wanted to change, and I was so desperate.
It was overwhelming, and so that's why he went to Jesus. And essentially, it was a really deep and honest testimony because a lot of times as believers, we're not honest with ourselves. We like portraying that picture perfect religious lifestyle that's holier than thou, okay? However, that's not Richard. I really like this guy because he literally keeps it 100 and he makes sure that whatever people think, he doesn't care about that. He cares about his relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, unfortunately, that has cost him his job. Well, fortunately, because Jesus tells us that blessed are you when you are persecuted for my sake. And that brings me to what I want to talk about in this particular video. Jesus told us about these things. He said that if the world hated him, the world would hate you as well. So, one of the things that you need to realize is that in 2024, there's no longer room for you to be lukewarm. These things are happening all over the world, and it's crazy that he gets fired from his job and they're giving a really flimsy excuse. They're saying, he shot videos and their logo is shown there and all that, but it's not necessarily true. In America, one of the things that's really weird is that if you belong to one of these communities, then you automatically get a pass to be able to work somewhere. It's all about inclusivity, okay? And that seems to be what's trending in the United States. What's weird though is that if you are a Christian and if you have opposing beliefs to people who are in these movements, these LGBTQ movements, then you start becoming somebody that's a threat. Now, what's more threatening is not necessarily that he transitioned from being gay. What they don't like is the influence, okay? This guy and the system will always come after you if you're influential. The devil doesn't care if you had your transition and you're going to go tell like maybe one person or two people. As long as you are influential, he's going to come at you. He's going to come at you either from your mind, where he's going to tell you that if you do this, You might lose your job. I'm pretty sure he thought about that. If you do this, this is going to happen. The devil came at Jesus. Jesus had a lot of influence, and he tried to offer Jesus a way out from going to the cross. So the moment you have enough influence, the moment you're able to go out here on TikTok and create a video that millions of people are going to watch, that's going to shape how so many other people are going to perceive this thing. Because I just watched another clip from Logan Paul and what's his name, Cliff, and they were discussing this whole gay and LGBTQ thing. And Logan Paul was asking Cliff, does God create people gay?
Why would God then create a male who's attracted to a male if, like, you know, God created all of us? Why would he create someone that goes directly against, like guys, like, being gay isn't a choice. No one, I think few people are like, oh, I'm attracted to the same sex.
I'm just going to link it in the description below, or I'll leave a card to it. But essentially, what the devil does not want, the enemy is afraid of people who are going to go out there and tell the truth about the situation. The devil wants you to believe that this is your identity, okay? And when God brings somebody out of that situation and he is living proof that that's not necessarily how it works, and that somebody is on a platform where they're able to reach millions of people, then something like this is bound to happen. Now, he definitely will threaten this with your existence because he knows that your job, your finances, your economic resources are the things that are going to, your bread basically is going to make you want to make a different decision. You have to notice that Satan always tempts people with food, okay? And when I'm talking about food, this is a more spiritual thing here. Notice how in the Garden of Eden, he tells Eve to eat the fruit. Notice the other temptation where Jesus is being tempted in the wilderness, and he is being told, as the first temptation, to turn those stones into bread. Okay, so this is not just something that's happening in scripture, it's something that you really need to pay attention to, because I want you to remember back in 2020, what were they threatening you with if you didn't get the jibby jab? What was it that people were being threatened with the most? It was their job. Okay, your job is what gives you the ability to buy food that you can eat. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why Jesus talked about man not living on bread alone. All these things are spiritual. Now, this goes a whole lot deeper, because if you've read the book of Revelation, then you know that when the Antichrist comes along, if you're not part of his global agenda, if you're not part of his system, guess what's going to be happening to you? You will not have the ability to buy or sell. And so Richard's story, it's not only about us standing with Christ, but it's a call to all believers that you need to make sure that your economic system, your way of livelihood does not depend on the global way of living. Okay. We need to be people who are cognizant of the fact that we are in this world. Jesus told us that we were in this world, but we were not of this world. Okay. Your economic system needs to be such that you're dependent on the kingdom. You should not be relying on a system that is built by a man that is likely to crumble. Because if you are part of his system and you do not align with the things that they are trying to push, the agendas that they're trying to push, if you're not politically correct, guess what they're going to come after? They're going to come after your money. They're going to come after your job. They're going to come after your ability to eat. But like we've been told, we have to stay strong. And I love Richard's story because he says he's smiling. He knows that where God has brought him from, it does not compare to what the enemy can try to do. And this is what happens to every believer at different scales. It's simply a walk that when you start choosing this walk, you are going to get attacks left, right, and center. You know, there's a gospel that is preached on the internet where people are told that if you follow Jesus, everything's going to be dandy in your life. And that's not necessarily true. You will experience attacks. And Richard is proof of that. However, we know that what awaits us in the kingdom that we are in has a whole lot more for us in essence than what is in the world. So I hope this video is something that can encourage you. If you are in your walk with Christ and you're struggling, remember to stay strong. There's no more room for staying lukewarm, because what you're seeing here is just a small scale of what's going to be happening to believers. But those that know their God shall be strong and they shall do exploits.